This information that was being spread on various social media platforms after some people learned that the president's son was one of the several Zambians commissioned as ZNS officers a few days ago. I wish to state the facts as follows. 1. Lieutenant Habwela Hichilema successfully attended the Officer Selection Board, a legal requirement for becoming an officer. These are interviews that include physical exams, medical exams, oral, and written exams. You will note that if one fails any of these exams, one is excluded from undergoing the training. So for you to be selected to go ahead with the training, you must pass these exams: physical, medical, oral, written. Number 2, he was not given any special treatment and went through the standard training process. As a matter of fact, he never trained as a Hichilema. He was given a training name to ensure that instructors did not get intimidated or prefer special treatment upon him. So even as he joined the training, he was given a training name and did not use his father's name or his actual name. He is a Hichilema, but he was given a training name. This was done to ensure that the instructors do not get intimidated. Imagine you are an instructor. What ranks are instructors, madam?
They are non-commissioned officers and junior officers.
See, non-commissioned and junior officers mostly. Imagine you are training the son of the commander-in-chief, you get intimidated. But to ensure that he received fair training, fair treatment, treated like any other cadet at the time, he was given a training name and did not train as a Hichilema. He shared the same experience as his fellow officer cadets, including meals and training itself. Lieutenant Hichilema willingly participated in the training process, reflecting the motto to train the willing and unwilling. He received disciplinary measures like his colleagues when necessary. I think at some point we'll hear one or two stories. Lieutenant Hichilema lived and conducted himself like any other officer cadet in the provided accommodations, which is a cubic accommodating 4 officers. So he was also in a cubic with 3 other cadet officers that he was training with. He participated in all training activities, including bush exercises, with the same dedication as his fellow officer cadets. During the bush exercise, he dug his own trench like all other cadets and slept in it for 1 week. The depth of the trench is a full height of the trainee with raised arms. So when you go in the bush, you must dig your own trench, and that's where you sleep for that whole week. Now the depth of that trench, it is the full length of your height plus you do that, so you must dig a trench all the way, and that's where you sleep. So like all the other trainees, he did that and he slept in there for that whole week. Throughout the training, Lieutenant Habwela Hichilema did not display any special treatment or privilege as the president's son. He earned respect through his humility and good attitude. Instructors and some fellow officer cadets only got to know that Lieutenant Hichilema was the president's son after he was commissioned. Upon seeing the buzz in the social media is when some of his colleagues, including the instructors, got to realize that after all, we were training a president's son or with the president's son. He cooperated with a corps of instructors and did not cause any issues during his training. Lieutenant Habwela Hichilema showed an easygoing personality and a strong work ethic. He demonstrated toughness, hard work, and determination throughout the rigorous military training, embracing the challenges involved. Let me now request Brigadier General Nyoni of ZNS to equally address the media. Brigadier General.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, the Permanent Secretary, sir. I must say that the Zambia National Service has been watching with interest the discussions that have been going around the training and commissioning of Lieutenant Habwela Hichilema. I must indicate that most of the information has been said by the Permanent Secretary's information. But it suffices to say that as a service, we felt honored to have had the opportunity and privilege to train the son of the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Force. It shows us that the first family greatly appreciates the confidence and the trust that they have in the Zambia National Service training capability. And the first family had options to have their son trained in any other service, but we are greatly humbled that the Zambia National Service is the institution that was given this responsibility. His military training emphasizes the noble nature of serving in the military, as it makes one more alert and changes one's perception of how they see situations and how they handle situations that come before them. It also gives someone or inculcates the commitment to save one's beloved country earnestly. I must say that the first family raised a very fine young officer who has admirable respect for others. Those pips that you saw shining on his shoulders, or the ranks that you saw shining on his shoulders during the commissioning day, those were deservedly earned. The officer earned that through hard work, through perseverance, and through resilience. As indicated, there was no special treatment that was given to him, and he worked hard for him to earn those pips or the ranks that you saw shining on his shoulders. And it is also important for us to recognize that Lieutenant Hichilema is an individual who has embarked on his own path within the military, separate from that of his esteemed father, who is the Republican President and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Force. So we would request and also appreciate that people respect his choice that he has made for him to dedicate his life to military career. The Permanent Secretary, sir, allow me to call upon some of the officers that trained with the Lieutenant Hichilema. I will ask the officers to first introduce themselves before they speak, and then they will address the media on their interaction with the officer when he was an officer cadet, just like themselves.
Are we able to extend that, or maybe we just give them an opportunity to come and sit here?
They can be central placed.
name is Captain Siba Asani, a friend to Lieutenant Hichilema. We first met with Lieutenant Hichilema when we fell in during training. That was phase 1 training, where there was extensive exercises, intense activities, and lack of sleep for us officer cadets. I met him at the clinic with swollen legs, and it caught my attention because my profession is that of a medical doctor. I saw how he struggled to wear the boots and how he would carry on with activities, strenuous activities, which I'll not be able to explain now. But then him having that particular condition was something that he would not possibly handle. So I took interest, and from there we got to interact more, learn more about him, had personal discussions, aspirations for the future, and just basically how training was going. So that clinic experience sparked friendship, and throughout training we would sit on several occasions to discuss how training was going. We used to encourage each other to say, okay, this thing is going to come to an end at some point. The common phrase, whatever goes up must definitely come down. Lieutenant Hichilema is a person who I would describe as one who is disciplined, one who has the desire to do things according to the book. He demonstrated leadership. He was there encouraging those that were around him. I remember towards the end of, during phase 3 of training, as we were reaching the end of training, we were placed in the same guard, the commissioning parade, where we were required to stand for longer hours. You notice that even when we were on commissioning, we stood for quite some time. So in preparation to that, we would stand for maybe 6 to 8 hours on parade. You would be there whispering, you say, guys, it's going to be okay. This is our commissioning parade. We must do everything possible to ensure that we have that parade that is going to give us the confidence when we look back. It's going to be something that we'll be proud of ourselves. It is sad to learn that the allegations that he never trained, he was not with us from the beginning of training. I think the saddest thing that you could ever do to one who has trained in a military training is to take away the training experience from them, to claim that they have not done what everybody has basically done is something that would be very wrong to do, because it's what we pride about. It's something that we rejoice about. It's something that when we look back makes us proud. So for those who might be propagating such ideas, I think we must look at it at a more critical way and see that this is an individual who did everything that was possible. And I'm sure there's a lot of documentation around to see the 3 phases that we went through, the breaking down phase, the building phase, and all of that. So we basically had a very wonderful experience, and we enjoyed ourselves, and we just hope that we may continue to hit more strides in this career that we have basically chosen. I thank you.
The best is just one.
Good morning. I'm Captain Shelley Kalila. Like my colleague Captain Asani has said, we trained with Lieutenant Hichilema from the first phase of training to the very end. I will speak from the point of view of the cadet government. There was a point when our instructors basically they left, they stepped back for a while and put us fellow cadets in charge. And I can say, as someone who was the cadet government, he never once refused command. He took all instructions that were given to him. He cleaned when it was time to clean. He dug when it was time to dig. He ran where we ran. He ate what we ate. We're together from the very first to the end of training. You might think that he would want to command respect as a president's son, but no. He was given things to do, and he did them to the very best that he could. I never once saw any instructor, any officer give him any special favor than the rest of us. So, like my fellow captain says, this training is our honor, it's our pride. So for somebody to say that you did not train, really, I think it's unfair. Yes, it's really unfair for somebody to say that, because it's something that we are proud to do as intake mates. If you could call anybody from my intake, they would all testify to the fact that we were with him, we trained. He was very humble. For somebody from a first family, he never once mentioned it, that I'm important, I am somebody who should be respected. As my general said, he went by a name that of Philip Mwinga, not Hichilema, so that he could just train like any other cadet. And that's what he did from the end to the beginning. And we're proud. I personally am honored to have trained with the president's son, something that I'll always be proud of.
Philip Mwinga.
So before he comes in, the captain that is just from speaking was part of the cadets government. And when you're in the cadets government, you have special privileges where you can instruct your fellow cadets to clean your shoes, shine them, as well as press your uniforms and so forth. And they would do that to him. They would give him their boots to clean because it's part of training. They had that privilege when they were in the government. And at no time did they have that experience where he would say, what, you are telling me to go and do this, do you know who I am? At no time. That is how come they didn't even know who he was. Until when social media was awash with all the photos and information about him being the president's son. I thought I had that.
Good morning. I'm Lieutenant Zimba. I also commissioned with Lieutenant Hichilema. He is one who I would describe as humble, disciplined, and a team player. His humility is something that I really, really admire, because they spoke about the cadet government. He had that opportunity to be in it, but then because he didn't want any form of attention to be drawn to him, he declined. And just for you to be in the cadets government, to shed more light on that, there are certain qualifications that you need to have. With regards to training, you have to be the best in physical activities. You have to be fully participant in everything that they tell us to do. And also academically, because we'll have exams and classes, and so they monitor all of that. The most important thing of it all is leadership. They want to either establish a leadership spirit, or they have noticed that you have that leadership quality in you. And then, given all of that, and given the opportunity to be in the cadets government, he declined that offer because him wanting to train just like any other ordinary officer cadet was what he wanted, and he did that. During training, there is what we would call malingering. Now, these are officer cadets who would try to fund their way out of strenuous activities that involves training, trying to hide. But of course, either you're willing or unwilling, they will train you. You will train. He wasn't one of those who would consider a malingerer. He was always participant, always ready to do whatever it is that we were instructed to do, and he did just that. It was hard, but we managed. So, given the hardships that we went through from the first phase, I'm sure maybe there should be documentation somewhere. We will see just how we have come from the breakdown period to where we are now, and then have somebody come and take that away from him is really, really unfair. So please don't.
We are one. So if we can focus on the screen now. Here, let's start with the one. Just pause. I think from the video you will be able to see also. Yeah, but also we have this video even online, and we will still repost it. Are we set now? Are we okay? No, you are not
We'll share the video afterwards. We have sharing groups where they
Okay, so I think you want to ask him to kneel. So I think it is clear that the President did make mention in recognizing the importance of the military training, especially that conducted by the National Service, and how it builds into the spirit of young people a spirit of resilience, of discipline, of hard work, and how it shapes and frames the minds of young people into responsible citizens. The President made it clear that even his children were going to go to ZNS for that training. Not that they are looking for jobs, but to be trained so that they too can have that spirit of resilience in them, so that they can go through that process, so that they can have that kind of discipline that the military instills. So let's play this video and listen to what the President said on this day.
Personally, I'm in stopping national service was a great mistake. I'm honest with you, and those of us who went for national service, to reflect on society today, what the kids are doing, the vulnerabilities that they go through, the fragility that you see in them. My own children, I can see that. And I've decided personally to send my children for military training. Not because they need to work in the military, but because they can acquire some resilience, lives, survival skills. Just don't, even when we trust them into business, into employment, those disciplines are very, very helpful. And as a government, we are now starting, as our resource envelope improves, with what we are calling voluntary national service. And I think there will be a lot of young guys taking up that voluntary national service.
Okay. Now, let me have the images put up there. Then you have people insinuating that this gentleman did not participate in the training. Lieutenant Hichilema did not train. He just showed up for commissioning. This is the day he reported for work. Brigadier General, you want to speak to this?
Yes, sir. So this was the first day. This is Lieutenant Hichilema reporting for OSB, which the PS has spoken to. He's the one in the grey truck bottom on the first with his bag, all his belongings on his head. This is how you arrive, and that is how he arrived. So this was him arriving at the Charles Joseph Nyirenda Training School, which was then Kafiwe Training School. This is him.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
This is him, sir, during lunch. He just had his lunch and he was about to go and wash his plate. So you can see the difference even in stature and image from the young man that was standing with a bag on his head to somebody that is being transformed. So number 3 from the front, that is him behind there in the dining hall about to get their meal. You can see the transformation. This is the breaking phase, phase 1, the first 3 months. You can see the cadet then and how he was changed and transformed. So you can see that he participated through all the phases of training. And this is him now on the commissioning day. So the PS, this confirms that.
Thank you very much, Brigadier. So, colleagues, members of the press, and through you, fellow citizens, I think it is clear that we are dealing with a principled leader. We are dealing with a disciplinarian father. This is a leader who has shown confidence firstly in his own systems, and has also, and as the ZNS have said, thanking the President and the First Lady for allowing them to have their son in their custody. So you can see that this President does not want to subject his children to a free lifestyle or lifestyle of luxury, but would rather they are trained, they are hardworking as he is, and they earn their path and ways in life to become citizens that are resilient citizens. This young man, Lieutenant Hichilema, had a choice. He still has a choice. He's always had a choice. He would have chosen to just be at home and say, today is my birthday. And we've heard in the past what happens on birthdays, isn't it? 69 vehicles, filling station, mafamu, manyumba, ndiye mapresent hapa birthday. But the boy goes to do the hard stuff. This is tough training. People die in those trainings. But he goes to do that training, and he comes out, and we want to make a mockery out of it. I want to agree with the officers that it is unfair to try and take away that pride that they hold as officers, the training that they go through and hold dear. Let us be fair with one another. I think what we have in this family, what we have in this president, is a great source of pride as a nation. So ladies and gentlemen, unless there are questions, Director, I think we end here. Okay. So let me do this. We had agreed that the PS also will address the issue to do with the voluntary training for ZNS that was spoken to even by His Excellency the President just now. So let us allow the PS Defense to give us an update.
Okay, thank you very much, PS, General Directors, members of the press. You know, when you said we are done now, I was about to volunteer him for training because I thought he was becoming a very disciplined permanent secretary. So maybe we should also have a scheme where as PSs we go for training. Now imagine what would happen to him and I because we are told, imagine being told to dig to our height with our hands extended up. But anyway, more importantly, I thought that it is necessary that we update the nation. I'm aware that there's been a lot of press queries with regards the ZNS voluntary training as to when will it start, where are we? So the update that I would want to provide to the country through you members of the press is that next week on the 25th of August, we shall be having medicals. So the individuals who were identified, 1,092 of them, 468 female, 624 male, representing 7 per constituency. That is 3 female, 4 male per constituency, will undergo medicals on the 25th of August. If they pass those medicals, then they will then proceed to commence the ZNS Voluntary Training. So in terms of training, it is our anticipation, or tentatively, we are saying that we should commence training by the 1st of September. And questions can be asked to say, where will they be trained from? We've identified 3 locations. Chiwoko, which is in Katete, will be one of the places where the training will be conducted. We'll also have people at Chishimba camp, that's in Kasama, and we'll have another batch in Kitwe. So those will be the 3 training places where the ZNS voluntary training will be conducted. And I think as I'd updated the nation before through the press, basic military training will be compulsory. So will be agriculture and national values and principles. As you heard from the President in the video that we watched, or indeed the Commander-in-Chief, we want to introduce discipline. We want to introduce perseverance. We also do recognize that when you undergo basic military training, you are transformed. You are a disciplined person, you are a committed person, you are a potential entrepreneur, or indeed, potentially you can be employed by anyone because of one key ingredient: discipline. Who would not want to employ a disciplined person? That is what we need. And this, from a government perspective, is one of the building blocks that the President constantly refers to when it comes to achieving our overarching interest, which is economic and social development. So I just thought that I update the country through you members of the press in terms of where we are in respect of the ZNS Voluntary Training Program. With that said, I can now hand over the gun to the Permanent Secretary Information so that he can pull the trigger or close the meeting for us, or indeed invite members of the press to ask questions if there are any.
Thank you, PS. Director.
Okay, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to the end of our press briefing, but unless there are questions on what has been said, you want to ask questions to the officers, this is the only time you can speak to them. After this, they will speak through their PR. You can't get anything out of them directly. So if you have any question, any point of clarification, please indicate by raising your hand so that we can give you an opportunity. Anyone with a question? Okay, I see none. What about for the PSCs? Any question on what has been said? No indication. Everything is clear. We don't expect any misinformation, sir. This is clear. Thank you for coming. We've come to the end of our press briefing. You may go and prepare for your news now at last.